extremely important for the foreign bands, for the bands from Eastern Europe who try to break in other countries. Because without record company support and without a record out there, a lot of concert promoters would not even talk to you. Because the first question they will ask, do you have a label? Do you have a record company? And when you say yes, it of course changes the situation drastically. The challenges also from our experience, it's a very, very difficult to promote a band. It's much easier to put a compilation. Because compilation, a lot of people still are very conservative. They would rather buy a compilation where you got 15 acts than an album from a single band or a single artist. And doing a compilation is also much easier. You basically sit down, select the tracks, clear the tracks, get the license, put it together, do the marketing, the artwork, and you can go on endlessly like that, bullet art compilations. But we decided from day one that we are not a compilation label and we have to promote the artist because although it's much work and less return, because the albums by the artists sell not as much as compilations. Nevertheless, we did that, and of course it's always difficult because we sort of in the middle, and the challenge is that we have to talk to the musician and explain how it works here. Very often we have different experiences. Some of the musicians are very cooperative and understand our situation and where we're coming from, and it's easy. With other musicians, it's much more difficult because often we hear, but it's not how it's done in our country. And it's difficult for them to understand how the market works in other countries. But it's just, it's an educational process, and after several tours and several visits, the situation gets much better.
The Western world, as we said, as we explained, is still very open to Eastern Europe because it's new, because it's fresh. I have my own radio show at the biggest youth radio station in Berlin, only on Eastern European music. So if a big station is accepting such a program, so it really is something which people want to hear. And we are both DJing and the clubs are full, so it is working. There are also cultural institutions. You have Polish Culture Institute. You have Hungarian Culture Institute. Also, the embassies sometimes are helping. So there are many ways to organize yourself as Eastern European music in the West. There are also first organizations now happening, like East EMA, which Mirko initiated more or less, and also in Budapest. I was at a conference last weekend, and there are many people from Eastern Europe gathered. And it's important to have one voice to be heard. The more people you have, the louder you can speak. So we have this idea of creating a database now, where you can find all the contacts of managers, of bands, of labels in Eastern Europe, where you can find the music, of course, and to go with this artwork and lyrics and everything and so on and so forth, so that the Western people have it easier to get access to this music, because you shouldn't underestimate the language problem. When you have Cyrillic letters, people from the West won't understand it, so you have to have a good presentation. But without losing your own style. So I repeat again, be original. So from Lithuania, I would not take a dance band singing in English, but I would rather pick Alina Alova or someone, because that's original. That's something which raises your attention. So just be yourself, go out there and do it. That's how I would close our little, I hope we didn't speak too long, our little speech. And you're welcome to ask questions if you have.
I have one question. How do you separate your, for example, radio's target audience? I mean, do Turkish like to listen Polish music or Russian music, or vice versa? Do Russian Germans
It's a good question. Our audience are Western people. We are not making this for the Russians and the Turkish local communities. If they join in, fair enough. Yes, at my radio program, for instance, I play all across the board. And people, well, it's, you know, music is taste in the first place, so some people like this, some people like this. But for them, it's all new and it's all fresh, so we don't have this local community as a target audience.
No, but I think
because they also don't buy CDs.
Your question was whether the Turkish audience in Germany listens to Russian music, and it's also a very good question. I would say mostly not, because the communities who live there, they're mostly listening to their own music, and there are always an exception, you know, and there are people who integrate more, and there are people who integrate less. But
yeah, but that's an extreme example, Turkish music. But you still have you have communities who have quite a lot in common. You have Balkans, there you have like 10 countries. From all these countries, the communities are listening to this sort of music. And then you have the former Soviet Union. So there's a big mass of people who have crossover interests, you know, who listen to Russian music, but also listen to their own new music, Ukrainian music or Lithuanian music, who listen to both. So there's quite a big audience also within the native language speakers who live abroad.
Okay. Have other questions?
A very simple question. Heard about Alina Orlova. What other should you pick up from Lithuania?
I'm not so good with the names. I have quite a few bands at home, but I'm not so good with the names. But generally, not so much from Lithuania. But maybe there will be something. We haven't released anything yet, we have to say. Because also we have to look for what people want, you know. We will always do what we like and what we think is good, but we are a business company. So at the moment, there's more interest to Balkans and to Russia and Ukraine. So for the time being, we do this, but there are good examples like Alina Orlova, which is something promising already. We haven't done anything yet, but yeah.
Also the direction in which we will go, and hopefully it will be time when we will reach Lithuania, so to say, we put out a compilation, country compilation. So we've done a Russian compilation, Balkan compilation, now we're thinking about Polish and Hungarian. But you should also bear in mind that we are not sponsored by any institutions, by European community, I mean EU, or any funds. So for us, every decision is a very tough business decision, because if we make a couple of mistakes, we should close our operation. And that's why our releases should be foremost commercially successful, which in these days does not mean millions or even 100,000 or even 10,000. So these days, if you sell 10,000 CDs, you are extremely, extremely successful. So that's how bad it is out there. And also, the companies, us, we operate two of us, and we cannot release hundreds of CDs in a year. Usually we do in a year 3-4 releases, and that's why we have really to take the right decision and take the priority. So if we have on the table 5-6 proposals, we think twice before we decide which one will work.
You worked with some national festivals, and how do you know about these events? Do you work with communities? Do you have some relations with them?
Okay, it's a very good question. We are not a concert agency, because when we started, we have decided we cannot physically do everything. And concert business is totally different from the record business. But we cooperate and know very, very close several concert agencies based in Germany, and not only in Germany, in UK, in America. And we always suggest our bands to these agencies. So when we plan the release, we go to them, talk to them, present the band, and after that, it's the work of a concert promoter to bring these bands to the festivals. They will use their contacts, they will talk to the organizers of the festival, and a very important event is the festival which takes place in Holland in January. It's called Eurosonic, exactly. And it's like a showcase for a lot of new bands. It happens in January in Holland, and most of the big festival organizers are there. All the bands play for free there, and they have like 45 minutes. So you have to go play, but it's extremely important because if the people from France or Italy or from Hungary would like the band, they will book it for the festival. It's like a showcase for the upcoming big summer festivals. So Eurosonic is also a very good tool where we can present